believe our crowd is educated enough and is full of questions because this session is a Q&A session. So I hope you guys have as many questions as possible.
Hello? What?
For the people who are sitting in front of you. Remember, my only rule is ask as many questions as you can. For the next hour, I want us to ask as many questions as possible. Okay, awesome. So I think just to refresh our minds, because we have a speaker to my left who we haven't met yet, and of course I was raised a gentleman, so I'll just like to ask Ms. Natasha Bellefeld just to tell us who she is and what she does. Okay.
Hi guys. I love your energy. I feel a bit like a passion killer. Now you've got the old people on stage, you were dancing, you were happy. Sorry for ruining the passion. But I promise we'll be entertaining. We're just here to help you guys out with a couple of facts and statistics, and I promise you'll use them again. My name is Natasha, as you heard. Natasha from Russia. You like that? I like you. And if you guys see me in town, remember to say hi. What I do is a pretty cool job. I own a media company. So we monitor all print, radio, television, and about 80 million plus online media and social media. So it's frack interesting. You always feel dumb because every day you learn a little bit more. But it's guys like us in the industry that will boost you up with fact. So make friends and go check out our Facebook posts. Okay, NUST Media, right? Because you guys are our future and we value you tremendously. So thanks for being here, guys.
Should I also introduce myself once again? I think I spoke about myself a bit. Once again, it's Shoki Kanjimi. Thank you for having me.
He's cool.
Okay, I'm Dr. Hugh.
Hi, everybody. Is this one working?
Yes.
Where's the sound man? Sound man? Okay, can you hear
Put
me?
it to your mouth.
Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, I'm Hugh Ellis. I'm Dr. Hugh Ellis, for what it's worth. Not Doctor Who, but Dr. Hugh. I teach media and communications at NUST. While I'm here, let me just apologize about having to end the performance. There's a test that has just started at 4 o'clock the other side. Otherwise, I would have let you go on. Yeah, but that's me.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, so before we start, I just want to know if everyone is going to ask a question. Yes? You'll try? Okay.
If you ask a question, it's something on your CV. People on TV are going to see you. So ask any question. There's no stupid question. That's really true. I never believed them, but it's true.
Okay.
See, you've got a question.
So who do we start with? Where's the question? Okay, young lady at the back, yeah?
Afternoon, guys. We learned about coding and we were told that we must find out more about coding. My question is, My question is, what is coding and why is it not in schools?
Her question is, what is coding and why is it not in schools? Okay. Would like to go first?
It's an awesome question. Coding for girls, women, anyone, is a powerful topic, and it's actually part of my job also. So I learned a lot from some master classes in Chicago about how do you structure and how do you code to get the best possible information to make good strategic decisions. Now, coding is, I think robotics has been introduced to many schools, and computer sciences, and coding should become a must-have in any school. I think that's one of the most powerful tools to become a good entrepreneur, to make a way, to create your own business. So it's a skill anybody can acquire, and I think there are really cool online tutorials and training videos that's free and that can give you those miles ahead. So just spend a little bit of time on that online, go get some free Wi-Fi somewhere, drink water in a coffee shop and be all and train yourself and look at these videos and get some tips. I think there's a huge gap not just for ourselves to create that opportunity, but for schools to make it a compulsory subject. So I think they're getting there, definitely getting there, and the value of that is being wildly and widely communicated and accepted. So you're on point. I think you can become a master coder, no?
Ladies and gentlemen in the back, can you please keep quiet? Ladies and gentlemen in the back, please keep it down. Okay. I think Shoki can go next. Yeah, about coding.
Sorry.
No problem. I think she mentioned what is coding basically. I wanted to touch basically on what you can do in terms of coding. Coding helps you to upload or to create content on a website or so. It helps you to update your website basically. I think that's what I wanted to touch on. It just basically helps you to create a website and also to update it on a daily basis, if you do that on a daily basis, yeah.
Okay. I think Dr. Hugh now has to touch on the point that you specified. Why is coding not in schools? I think if you can just add on to that.
It's a hard question to answer. Let me sort of answer by maybe asking you just by a show of hands, or maybe you can tell me, do you have a computer lab at your school? Yes. How often in a week do you actually use that computer lab? Every day. And how many teachers are there that teach you how to use those computers? Two? Okay, that's a lot better than most schools in this country. And I think that's part of the answer why it's not in schools yet. A lot of our graduate students are actually doing research into how computers are used in schools. And what we find is not very promising, you know. We find that most schools in Namibia do have a computer lab, but it's not really being used for lessons that much. It's maybe something where the principal goes in there to type letters or that sort of thing, or teachers use it, but it's, especially when you start looking at the rural areas, it's actually rare that there'll be a school computer lab that teachers feel qualified to use and that students actually use every day. So I think, yeah, coding is vital. People really need to learn coding, but there's a lot that needs to change in schools before that happens. There's got to be reliable computer labs. Teachers have to know themselves how to use them. There's a lot of issues, yeah.
I agree with you. That digital literacy, it's part of our own responsibility to be curious, isn't it? So it's almost like when somebody says CFO, Chief Financial Officer, then I'm like, gink. And do you see the figures those guys work with, and the books and the magic and the numbers? And it actually makes sense if you just start chunking into it like a big old elephant and show interest and try to decipher it for yourself. So just start somewhere, I think, to better understand the things we blow up to be something that we can't understand, but it's actually accessible to everybody if we start venturing after it. So it's, and it's part of our responsibility, because your children one day, I know it's the last thing you want to think about now, and please don't have children, but your children one day will need to learn from your example, and you've got a very powerful example to set. So I challenge you, become that girl we read about in the papers and listen to on the radio that literally created your own future and didn't wait for it to happen in the school, or you brought it into the school. That is the power and the ability that you have. And that's the mindset I think we need to continuously harvest in our youth, is that what do we need? Let me bring it, right? And if you've got that will, we saw that Greta girl going ape about the environment. Did you guys check that on social media? Google is your friend. If you don't know anything, just say wait, and you turn your back and you Google it. It always works, but never on a date. Never on a date. So you have a platform if you're passionate about something to create momentum and get the guys with money and the adults to buy into this and support you. Okay. So that's a power of communications, and that really becomes the cornerstone of any new idea and any new campaign and any new awareness we want to create, establish in society. Did you guys check how cool Madam Gangos is in driving anti-gender-based violence? She's got this One Economy Foundation. She's pretty awesome, isn't she? Nee? Freaking awesome. So, does that sound like an old person thing to say? I'm trying so hard, I'm trying too hard, nee? So, we need you to become those leaders, and you can. You are literally our future and our next generation leadership. And I want you to show people wrong. Be active on the social media platforms where you are welcomed and start talking about this tough stuff, you know, and especially politics now towards the elections. You're going to become that government that we continue to serve. So start participating on those platforms. It's not for old people. Then we're becoming part of the problem, right? So make us proud. And if you start developing those stories, come to NUST Media and we'll help you create PR from that and help you gain momentum and traction so that your dreams can be actualized. But a lot of that is robotics, né? So nerd on, #ish.
All right, great, great. So next question. Next question, please. Okay.
This is a direct question. What exact media background or educational background do you need to create your own application or software, like mobile application or software? Like a graphic design app tool or anything? What exact media background or just educational background do you need? Anybody knows?
Just quickly rephrase your question. I think we didn't hear it clearly.
What media background or educational background, like what course should I take to be able to get skills or to develop my own application, mobile application, like for example, these apps that say that, oh, can make your own wallpaper, graphic design wallpapers. What skills, where do I get to gain the skills, and what skills do I need, or what educational background should I go with through to make my own software?
Okay.
Yeah, application.
I'm not really a professional. Let me just get it out there. But what I understand is basically you need to go through training, and I think NUST does also offer that training for computer sciences courses and so forth. But I also think multimedia somehow in the journalism department also assists through coding and all that. So if you do that or you attend those classes, they also help you to develop your own app and so forth. But also, I think Nadia also mentioned the power of, Natasha, I beg your pardon, also mentioned about the free online platforms that are there. So try to Google and see which software can also assist you to create your own app and so forth. Yeah?
Dr. Hugh, I think, would you want to take on that?
From NUST's perspective, the easiest way to do it if you want to, or the most complete way to do it if you want to be a kind of web app developer full-time is to sign up for a bachelor in informatics. That's the subject that's what we call the subject that deals with information, how it's processed, also coding and that kind of thing. Now for journalism we do offer a little bit of that, really in third year, but at the moment it's not necessarily to make you a specialist in that. It'll allow you to sort of do journalism through that, but really to be a specialist you should sign up for a Bachelor of Informatics with us, yeah.
All right. Did that answer your question? Okay. Next question, please.
Hi everyone. Oh, it's me. My name is Pauline Andalikokole from Confidente newspaper. Now my question is from something I've experienced as an upcoming journalist or an intern, both the Namibian and NBC. So when you are a young journalist or an upcoming journalist or an intern, most PROs and government officials are most likely not to answer to your questions because they do not know you, or they won't give you information on the basis of that they do not know you. So I want to understand how that can be changed or how that can be killed, if you understand my question.
So you want to know how do you deal with no response attitudes?
Yes.
All right.
Or how that can be changed or killed because
All
it's
right.
not nice.
Very valid question and a good input. Guys, did you know our new currency, global currency, is actually going to be attention, right? So we're working with short attention spans, like 8 seconds max, and then people start to lose their interest. On average, people check their phone at least 110 times a day. Just think about your mom and dad maybe, or an auntie or your niece, how much time they spend on their cell phones, right? So when we're trying to get answers from people needing to deal with our questions, we have to make it a matter of urgency and we have to make it a matter of relevance. So sometimes it's not just the person with a non-responsive attitude, but it's also the way we phrase questions or the type of insight and knowledge we have about what they do. So it's good to be well prepared and to ask the information you need in such a way that it is also appealing to this person to engage with you. And a no-response attitude is a haha, poo-poo, horrible response culture. It's by not saying something, you're actually saying so much in turn, right? If you ask your mom, Mom, can I have a double pizza on my birthday Friday? And that's an answer. Now, similar with politics, economics, our corporate sector, they don't have the benefit of not responding. A CEO cannot say no comment unless they are fact-based, there's a reference to information. So you have the right to want to gather the information. I think sometimes the challenge to us, because I always take it back, how can we make it work, is have I done all my research well? Can I draw in some information I've gotten or received from other sources so that this person can clearly see what I confirm or I deny, or I can add more information to you and make this person feel important. The way to keep attention, remember it's a currency, is if you make that other person feel like the most important person in the world. Remember, we're accidental narcissists. You know what that means? We love ourselves. Per ongeluk, kamma. It's all about me, myself, and I. So if we're trying to be relevant, make that other person you're communicating to feel really important. Be sure that you have researched the situation. Have you checked your mom's bank account? Have you checked if there are some pizzas on special somewhere? And then say, Mom, you know what? It's not only my birthday on Friday, but there's this huge pizza special, and there will be more than enough for you to share with me, and maybe I can take some to school tomorrow. You know, you're asking questions almost like a value proposition.
All right.
Can I also just comment on that?
Okay.
But before that, can we please get order in the house? And I think it's because of the action that is happening there behind. It's eventually going to affect what's happening here. Hello, everybody that's behind. Can we please stop the process of eating so that we can get attention here? Can the organizers please stop the process of eating? That way we will get the same attention right in front here. Because the movement behind is causing so much disturbance right here that we can't even hear what we are saying here.
Okay. All right. Okay, now let's get into the next question.
Maybe just before you go to the next question, on her question, I think it has been a challenge in terms of the communications between public relations as well as the journalist. And I don't know what's the issue in terms of government PROs and so forth. And I think as PRISA, we have also picked up that issue, and we are working around the clock to at least organize a seminar or whereby we'll be having a media interaction with journalists, editors, and so forth, because we want to indeed improve the communications between the two parties. Of course, we also do understand that PR is all about building and maintaining those relationships. Now, if that does not happen between two key parties, then we are not likely to get the information that is supposed to get out to the public. So my advice is basically, I think you also mentioned that basically they said they do not know you, that's why they do not want to approach you. I think it's also the duty of media practitioners or media houses to always constantly introduce their staff to the various public relations practitioners. And there's a very, very easy way. Looking at the website of the Ministry of ICT, all the details of public relations officers in government and their agencies are there. And I think through that, editors or the managing director of the media house can constantly communicate the details of, let's say, this is Paulina Ndalikokule from the Confidante newspaper. She's with us now. Please, if she asks you for some sort of information, kindly assist her. It's all about building and maintaining those relationships. That's how we can keep those key relations. But I think from a PRISA's perspective, we are working towards having a seminar where we can interact and identify what are the issues at the moment and how can we work around the clock to ensure that we solve all these issues. So I think also it's also your duty as a journalist to also introduce yourself to them, make them understand what beat you focus on, for instance, you understand, and then perhaps the communications will be better.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, now the next question. I haven't had any male person ask a question. Okay, here we have a male, okay. Just stand up, say your name and then your question, okay? Okay, his question is, how do we use coding to an advantage in the media industry?
That's a cool question. So our team, we've got 4 media coders at my company, media content analysts, we call them. And what they do on a daily basis is look at all content, statement by statement, in our print and broadcast media. Remember, our broadcast is the radio and the television. And so what they do by coding the information, and we run syntaxes over it, which just means we're labeling the code. We're making it not 82045, but we're making it the Namibian. And what we do with this data is learn from it. So we are able to guide any public communications officer from a line ministry or from corporate, economics, any protagonist, which means company or a spokesperson or a source, we're able to guide them by showing them with data, right, it's almost like an external communications audit. By which stakeholders have you been heard? Tap, 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 tap. In terms of comparing your company with others in your industry or nationally, tap, 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 tap. This is what you look like. And we make it relevant by adding tonality, a sentiment. So sentiment means, is it positive, is it negative, is it neutral? And it starts showing us key reputation drivers and threats. So you learn from the data by showing how relevant are we, what are the key messages that we are driving, and are we being relevant to the national agenda? So companies have all these fancy sponsorship programs, but are they tapped into what the country needs? And are they in a good relationship with government towards actualizing those goals? So we monitor various aspects of the data, from sponsorships to your vision and your leadership, your business environment. For example, take the mining industry. That's a tough business environment to operate in. If you're dealing with action groups and protesters or labor unions or tough financial results, there's so much, when people think about a mine in a mining industry, perception that you already have to deal with. So by coding the data, we get a very good indication of what is perceived and dominant public relations relate to? What are we speaking about very loudly, and what are we speaking about very softly? And we use the data to empower. So for example, at Madam Gangas's function, we indicated from a media perspective that about 1.25% of the public agenda in 2017 to 18 was dedicated to crime-related stories. Could be gender-based violence, murder, anything. I think there's a mic on somewhere. And we were able to establish that, guys, we are underreporting on crime, GBV, all these social ills, and we're spending so much time talking about economy and money and business performance, etc. So it created a platform where journalists and companies started actively voicing out against these social ills. And once the fire starts, because they listened to data, they did good research, they start a fire, then this fire is like fireworks. You start popping all around the show and get others interested and listening. So using data in communications is a lekker tool. It also helps you learn from social media. You know, in Afrikaans you would say, poep jy teen donder weer. Oh, what you're saying on social media, that's funny, right? Because we're having thunder in the background. I think I'm blushing. You can see when white people blush. Are we being relevant? Because if you're tuning into social media, but you're not actually engaging, it's an extremely selfish act. Your message won't come across. You won't get advocates. You won't get influencers. You won't get people pushing your message and taking the punch and trusting you in that message. So we have so much to learn from data, and I love questions like yours because you're definitely thinking in the right direction.
Great. Dr. Hugh, do you want to touch on that?
I think you've said it all. Also, for journalism and for investigative journalism, we can do a lot with data and a lot with coding. One example is, for example, in investigative journalism, you can develop apps these days that can do facial recognition. So can go through people's Facebook pages and look for the same face, which is something that a person would struggle to do on their own. So, for example, some investigative journalists have used that to pinpoint a particular person, maybe like a soldier who claims he was not at this place where a massacre took place, but 2 days prior to the massacre, he had a picture up on Facebook showing him in that surrounding, for example. There was a famous case, you can look it up, where the BBC did exactly that, and were able to actually use coding and use what they call big data to actually expose wrongdoing, actually expose a massacre that the government in, I think it was Cameroon, was actually denying took place. But through using things like coding and through using what's sometimes called artificial intelligence, they were able to actually prove that it did happen. So it's a very powerful tool. Yeah.
Okay.